What is going on, everybody? Happy Saturday night. Hope you all had a great week. Hope you're staying warm or as warm as possible. We're in a bit of an ice freeze over here on the East Coast, so hope you're all doing well. I've got two guests joining me tonight. My man Jonathan, my Prime Minister of Valuable Intel, Mr. Ken, Yankees The Ugly Truth. They're going to be joining me in a second here. We're going to talk about the 5 most frequently brought up Yankees talking points, right? And there's a lot of different views upon this stuff, right? And there's a lot of different, takes on what's going on. But I'm also glad that people are actually speaking up now, calling out some of these talking points on social media. Now we're heading a little bit more of a both sides painting of a picture here instead of just a one-sided narrative that tends to be spread a lot on a couple of channels which have large followings. And I've talked about this recently as well. But I want to bring up my guests here. I got Jonathan.
Hi.
And I've got Ken from Yankees The Ugly Truth. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well.
Ken, how are we doing?
It is snowing like hell.
Is it?
It is coming down hard now.
Oh, boy. We're supposed to get – well, I guess it's going to come from you. I guess it's going to go north from you, right? So,
yep.
We haven't gotten any yet, but, we're like 18 inches deep already anyway from last week.
Yeah, we had nothing, and now we've got 3 inches on the ground.
Yeah. And how cold is it by you?
Right at 20 degrees.
20 degrees, yeah.
With the wind chill, because we got a lot of wind, it's down to about 4.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I didn't go outside today.
So
I had to transit to the shop so I could be here, so I did go outside.
Well, we appreciate you coming on with us tonight. And guys, we talked about this. There's a lot of talking points going on when it comes to the Yankees, right? And and a lot of them are devoid of facts and reality. So we're gonna dive into them a little bit.
The one guy that I was gonna talk about tonight, I noticed that he signed earlier, which was Arise.
Yeah, he went to the San Francisco Giants on a 1-year deal. Looks like for $12 million. So he's gonna play
I had to think of other things to say tonight.
Well, we could focus on the talking points that I want to get both of you guys' input on this, and we're kind of round robin this. You folks in the chat, shout out to all yous. Let us know what your thoughts are too. Okay, and Tiffany, thank you as always. Thank you as always. Congrats. Thank you. What did I accomplish something? Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I feel blessed having you all here coming on, and I appreciate all the time you spend with us, right? And whether it's in the live streams, whether it's in the comments, whatever it might be, your input is always valuable and welcome here. It's always what makes the channel better. So I thank all of you. Okay, and I appreciate all the super chats too. Was somebody send the super chat that I missed? Yo, NFB is in the building with the strike zone. And anybody that's not subscribed to the Strike Zone or the Yankees Ugly Truth, please make sure you guys and gals do that. Okay, you want to support our fellow content creators in our family. All right, but let's get right into this. And folks, chime in if you thought and you let us know what your thoughts are too. Right, we have 5 talking points we want to go with. The first one being something that has been brought up for the past year as kind of a catchphrase, right? And it's all in front of us. That's what Aaron Boone said, right, when he was addressing the media last year. And showed frustration and so on and so forth. And Kunstler Yeti, what's going on? So, Jonathan, what's your take on? You guys go first, and I'll go last. I want to hear from you guys first.
I guess the point of it's all in front of us is when the Yankees when the Yankees are fully healthy with no problem. They have a pretty good team, a first-place type of team, but they have before the trade, they have a very weak bench. They cannot give guys rest. And I think I think they have a little bit deeper bench with the trades they made last year, but the
Yeah,
Yankees are still missing another contact bat. They don't have enough contact bats on that team. And that's why I wanted a guy like Arise, who was signed today. I was hoping that he would be an option for the Yankees because of his contact bat and his low strikeout rate.
Ken, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, with
Let's
regard to Arise,
Let's put our phones on silent. By the way, there's a lot of beeping and stuff like that going on. Make sure we're not getting all these chimes, if you don't mind. Thank you.
yeah, the chime. It's me.
All right.
My sisters are texting like nuts about weather.
Yeah, I don't blame him. What's your take, man? What's your take?
Well, it's right in front of us. I mean, we've heard this for over a year, and I don't think that Boone is absolutely wrong in that assessment because there's plenty of talent. There has been plenty of talent on the teams. What's been lacking is the actual execution. Situational hitting has been beyond crap.
Yeah.
Arise was somebody that I brought up in one of my shorts about bringing a contact bat. The problem with Arise is you can't play him anywhere on the damn field because he is a horrible defender across the board, no range. If we brought him in to be the everyday DH, that would have been fantastic. However, we got Stanton, and Stanton's not going anywhere. Another left-handed bat to the mix, I just didn't see.
Yep. I agree. I mean, another contact bat we talked about is something the Yankees need. I do think. Well, I'll get into that one. My personal take on it's all in front. It's in front of us too. I agree with you guys. When the Yankees are healthy, and when they're fully stocked, they're confident in what they have here. Aaron Boone, right? He trusts his team. He trusts his players, and the players have alluded to this recently. Even Jazz Chisholm, he did it. For those that don't know, he donated a bunch of computers to a school in Bronx yesterday, community school, and he was there and was talking, and they were asking him about running it back and all this stuff. And he said that one of the things they appreciate is the guys the fact that the coaches and the general manager, they trust in them and they believe in them. So that's why they're quote unquote running it back. And so we're going to get to that too.
There is one guy the Yankees have on their roster now that if he can pan out the way he was, which is Cabrera, if he can pan out, if he can hit with contact like he was doing before his injury and play solid defense, I think he is possible the contact bat that they need. But playing him is going to be an issue.
Well, that's the key, right? And we're going to get to that too. But going back to what I was saying, Jazz alluded to that, and Cody Bellinger alluded to it too, right? One of the reasons he came back here is because of the chemistry that this team has, right? And the way that they're treated by the manager and the people above them. So it goes to show that the team chemistry here is not really a problem like it is in other teams.
Well, and to Pixel Man's point, we need a lefty contact bat, not righty contact. But,
we need a righty contact bat, yes.
Yeah, he's a great lefty. Well, we'll have to see what he does in spring training.
Now, to get to some of the comments too, I mean, I think they're going to add a pitcher, so that somebody who can give them reliable innings, so that maybe they're not having to rely as much on Ryan Yarbrough and Paul Blackburn to provide starts, and Ryan Weathers to provide starts. That's why they can play in their appropriate roles and be the most productive as they possibly can. So I do, and I sent Ken a list earlier. There's about 24 guys that are starting pitchers that haven't signed yet.
And
right?
The other guy that I was going to mention was mentioned in the chat is Andrew Hall. I think he is a righty contact bat that the Yankees should consider.
Righty contact bat, yep. I mean, if you ask me, there's only one righty contact bat that I want. It's Nico Horner. There's nobody that checks more boxes than Nico Horner does.
You want Donovan, but he's.
Well, I don't want Donovan anymore. I want Nico Horner now. If Cody Bellinger didn't come back, then Donovan was my choice for left field. But now that Cody Bellinger's here, where would we play Donovan? And it's the fact that we need a righty bat. I actually have Nico Horner in front of Vernon Donovan now.
So what would it take to get Nico Horner, and is he even available? Because I don't think
he's available. The Yankees are in dialogue, and the Red Sox are now in dialogue with the Cubs too. So
what would you give up for him?
Well, they want pitching.
So a guy like Chase Hampton?
It might cost Chase Hampton. I really don't know. It might cost Chase Hampton. And this is where, them signing another starting pitcher might make it easy for them to trade somebody like Luis Hill. It might even cost Will Warren or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if one of Will Warren or Luis Hill is traded. I think one of those two guys will be traded before the end of spring training.
I think they will be too. And I think
unless they make a massive trade that requires both of them.
I don't think they will. I don't think they're gonna trade two pitchers and only bring back one. I don't think they'll do that because one of the things that I've talked about even recently is the depth that Brian Cashman is trying to supply Aaron Boone, which he hasn't been able to do for a couple of years, right? And you need that. We need that pitching depth. What let us down in the postseason last year? Pitching. So that's where we need to have as much depth as possible right now.
Oh, we're also this year. The difference is we're getting Cole back. We might get Smith at the end of the season, although you never know.
Well, which leads us to our second talking point, number 2, is running it back. Right, that was the next catchphrase that so many folks ran with. Right, YouTubers, they were running videos on this. It was like a competition to see who had the biggest rant on running it back. And Brian Cashman addressed the media. Now, I'm going to make something clear, at least and you folks let me know if you agree or not. But like Brian Cashman, when he addressed the media, when Aaron Boone addressed the media, it was not impromptu. They didn't say, you know what, I want to be heard. I'm calling a press conference. They agreed to answer questions, and these are questions that were asked of them, and they responded. And then one of the things I said the other morning is if we want better answers from Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman, then we need to ask them better questions, right? We need to ask them questions that are not swimming in talking points.
Well, do you think that the guys they get to ask the questions in the media day has more of a set of questions prepared rather than having
they'll have them prepared. And you'll see guys like Joel Sherman. He presses the buttons of Brian Cashman. But, we have folks that accuse them of doing certain things, but none of these guys have their media credentials blocked.
Yeah.
They still get access to these guys, so they press them on a regular basis. So, but if you're going to keep asking them the same question over and over again and expecting different answers, maybe the problem is the questions that are being asked, not the answers.
The other thing that I haven't been able to find is the Yankees haven't put out the spring training invites yet.
They're probably not done with them yet.
No, there have been some teams that have put them out.
Yeah, that's all right. But we know that the Yankees aren't done, right? They're looking for another arm, and they're looking for another righty bat at least, maybe even 2. That's what I'm hearing. So, and again, the Yankees generally put out their stuff after most teams do. So, but Jonathan, what's your take on this running and back talking point? That's talking point number 2.
Well, if you remember the trade deadline, the trade deadline, we got a lot of new pieces, so you can understand a little bit why they haven't been so aggressive this offseason because they got how many players? 4 players?
7.
8.
7 players.
8 players.
Oh, 8. That's right. 8 players.
8 players. So when you think of that trade deadline last year, what else can you add to what they did for those 48 hours?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, what did they bring in? They brought in 3 relief pitchers that were going to replace at least 3 guys that left, right? All of which had controllable years. They brought in their starting third baseman.
Duvall, McMahon, Bednar.
And they brought in McMahon. Then they brought in Ahmed Rosario,
Duvall, Bird.
They brought in Jose Caballero.
Yeah.
Who else did they bring in, Ken?
Jake
Duvall and Bird.
Duvall, Bird, Jake Bird.
Ahmed Rosario.
Ahmed Rosario, Jose Caballero, Ryan McMahon. That's what, 7. So,
Austin Slater was a lot. Slater was the 8th, and he's the one we let walk.
Yeah.
Who?
Austin Slater. He was another righty that they brought in from the
Slater.
that hit lefties well, but then he got hurt after like 2 days, and then we really never saw him.
Is that a player? Is he a player you might want to consider bringing back on a 1-year deal?
He's not my first choice.
Uncle Ted.
What's that, Ken? Go ahead.
Uncle Ted just put a comment: LaGrange, ERC, and Pico Con for Gerardo Perdomo, shortstop for the Diamondbacks.
No.
They just signed him on a 5-year extension. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
and I certainly wouldn't put our top pitching prospects.
I would put those players in a trade for Paul Skeens.
Paul Skeens, a different story.
I know.
All right. So right now, the folks that we're hearing that are being suggested, I mean, the Yankees have made an offer to Austin Slater. I don't know what kind of offer. Then they're apparently looking into Tommy Pham and Randall Grichuk.
Yeah, Randall Grichuk is the one that
as the righty outfield bats. And if they bring in one of those guys, then that tells me they're going to trade either Dominguez or Jones, right? And the other one will probably start in AAA. But if whoever starts in AAA, their trade value is going to drop immediately if you start them in AAA, right? Instead of keeping them out here. So I would and this is why it goes back to saying, of all those righty bats that we just mentioned, which one of them can have a greater impact than Nico Hoerner?
Probably none of them. Nico Hoerner would be the top guy, but
he would also be the leadoff.
Isn't Nico Hoerner have 1 year left on his contract?
He's got 1 year.
Yes, he's a free agent at the end of the year. No, what you look at Hoerner is he fills the void of no leadoff hitter that we haven't had for years. He brings in positional versatility, being a shortstop and possibly third baseman and a second baseman, plus his elite contact and defensive skill sets. I mean, he checks pretty much every box that we need to see checked.
He also brutalized. He brutalizes left-handed pitching too.
Yeah.
So if for example we got Hoerner, who would you take out of the outfield? Would you trade?
I wouldn't take anybody out of the outfield.
You wouldn't trade Cabrera?
Oswaldo Cabrera? Well, I mean, if he had to go for Hoerner, yeah, sure. But I mean, if that's the point, if I want me personally, I want him to be the righty bat. He plays the infield, right? And he can play multiple infield positions. And in that respect, then if I'm going to bring in another righty bat, it's going to be behind the plate. Yeah. So I'm going to trade JC Escar. I'm going to try to get a relief pitcher for him, and then I would try to trade Jason Dominguez for an arm too, right? And try to get as much relief help here as possible.
Well, and this is the big question I would have for Cashman if I was in that media day: is why didn't he stay in the GM meeting and work out a deal to solve some of this problem?
Maybe the opportunity didn't present itself. I don't know. Because generally the GM meetings, the agents aren't there, right? And the players aren't.
You also have to remember we've been held hostage by Cody Bellinger and Scott Boras pretty much since free agency started.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why I wanted to move away from them.
Well, they didn't move away from them, obviously, so we were stuck with them.
Well,
that was the number one target for bringing them back.
That is the Yankees' problem. They let Boras and Bellinger how can hamstring them for so long? They missed out on any of the Japanese talent who I would have.
We weren't in on any of the. We weren't in on any of the Japanese talent.
I know, but the a guy like Okamoto would have solved some of this problem.
Maybe, maybe not. You don't know what he brings to the major leagues.
Well, you don't know what any of the, you don't know what Nico Horner will bring.
Obviously, well, Nico Horner is a proven talent. You have a lot of major league talent assessors that did not think he was good enough. That's why he ended up signing a short-term deal for mid-range money and opt-outs, another Boris special.
Yeah, and just to add to the running it back thing, I mean, they're running back some of the team, not all the team. So I mean, I think the better term would be we're running some of it back, not all of it back, right? I mean, of the starting lineup last year, how much of that starting lineup is going to be the starting lineup this year? Maybe a third of it.
You're looking at a 60% rollover on the starters. You're looking at a 62.5% rollover on the bullpen. So it's significantly different than it was last year. And you also have to remember when we bought some of the bullpen players in at the deadline, for instance, Jake Bird. Jake Bird is a 100-mile-an-hour freaking beast, but he was overused and worn out. Yeah. That's the thing that we always seem to forget is whenever you transition cities and certainly leagues, there's an adjustment period that you have to have.
There's also an adjustment period when you go from altitude to sea level also.
Well, that's true.
And Bird was thrown right to the Wolves at the trade deadline. Right to the Wolves, right?
He changed uniforms and pitched that night along with him and Bednar, and they all got hammered in Miami.
Yeah, all of them did. Duvall did, Bednar, they all got hammered in Miami.
And Cabrera let a ball roll between his legs all the way to the fence. It cost us a game. I mean, everybody that we brought in that day played horribly.
Yeah, all the acquisitions. Yeah.
Yeah, according to what I'm reading, assuming opening day lineup, the Yankees will have at least 4 position players different from last year.
Yeah, that's half, pretty much half the lineup.
Volpe is probably not going to be in the opening day lineup.
No, he's already not slated to come back till June.
Yeah. You're gonna have Austin Wells, Chisholm, maybe Dominguez, Judge, Bellinger, and Rice.
I don't think Dominguez is going to start.
So then that's only 5.
Grisham is going to be the starting center fielder.
Yeah.
Grisham, and then you got Cody Bellinger and left, Judge, and that the same. They're going to run back the same outfield, which I'm fine with. That's one of the best outfielders in baseball.
You're only gonna, from opening day last year to opening day this year, only 5 players are going to be in that lineup, assuming all are healthy.
And all but 3 relief pitchers are back. Right, the only three relievers that are back from last year are Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, and Ryan Yarborough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody else is new.
And that guy, Cade Winquist, I think, is going to be a surprise out of the bullpen, along with Legrange.
Legrange, you got a lot of guys. You got a lot of guys. They got Angel Chivilli, who they just got. He's another guy that throws 98, 99. Yeah. They got a lot of high velocity guys that they've added in spring training.
The thing for Chavallo is it's 5 years of control. He has 2 options left. So we could burn this year putting him in the minor league, getting Blake to work with him and his godforsaken control issues, and come up with a guy that's pretty special. So he's not necessarily having to clog our bullpen up. And I will tell you what, come May, the Yankees are going to have some tough decisions to make because Rodon will be back.
Yeah.
Cole will be back.
Yep.
Are we shifting somebody from the rotation into
Clark
the pen? Forget Clark Smith. He's never going to be a starting pitcher again. Two Tommy John surgeries, he's cooked.
Yeah, I doubt I personally don't think he's going to be back in the rotation either.
I would love to see what Hampton does when he gets back.
God's honest truth, I would have non-tendered Smith myself.
Well, I don't think they want to non-tender someone who they think could be a Schmidt was Schmidt was projected to be a top 10 uh, draft pick if he didn't get injured. The Yankees drafted him at 16, I believe.
Yeah.
And has he lived up to a top 10 billing since he's been in the major league?
No, but the Yankees
No.
still think of him like that.
I don't care what they think of.
He's
Showing
decent.
on the field. That's the whole argument with regard to Jason Dominguez. Jason Dominguez is supposed to be freaking God walking on the field. He hasn't shown it on the field, so he sits on the bench.
Well, sitting him on the bench really is diminishing his trade value if he has any left.
Well, I'll tell you what, he certainly didn't help himself out in the fall or in the winter ball. He hit under the Mendoza line. They gave him a first base glove because obviously he wasn't catching it in the outfield.
So the other thing the Yankees have to learn is when to let go of their prospects. If they have clogged up at a position, if they're clogged up at a position, and they have 2 or 3 really great players at that position who could be attractive trade pieces, they have to think of trading 1 or 2 of them.
Yep.
Or else you're just letting them rot in the minor leagues, just like they did for Jones last year.
Well, you know what's funny? You know what's funny is so many of the folks who complain.
Okay. Here's my question for you. With last year's outfield, you bring Jones up. What's he going to do?
I understand that you had no place for Jones last year.
Exactly. You just can't bring a person up for the sake of bringing them up. You got to have a spot for him to play.
Yeah, sitting Jones doesn't help his development. But that's one of the biggest complaints of our fans is their prospect hugging, right? But then it's funny because then you play some of the kids, and then they're angry that they're not signing these expensive, flashy players because we're playing the kids.
No, I'm not one of those.
No, I'm curious. Where's the consistency in any of these arguments? Right.
Well,
I think that some of the inconsistencies have been created when Hal said he wants to lower payroll. When you want to lower payroll, the only realistic way to lower payroll is to bring up guys from your farm system if they're good enough to play.
Yep.
That's the only way to have a lower payroll.
But to add to that, I mean, he did say it would be ideal to low payroll, but he said it very likely wasn't going to happen.
Well, then that's what maybe that's what a lot of people don't realize. When
people need to listen.
Yes,
they hear what they want to hear, and then they go to other channels who tell them what they want to hear and ignore majority of the story, right?
And to the chat, I don't think Framber Valdez is going to be a Yankee because of the qualifying offer.
Qualifying offer and the chemistry issue.
Don't think it has anything to do with the QO. He crossed up his catcher on purpose and damn near got him hurt.
Yeah.
They had a press conference about it, and that stuff will not play in New York.
It would not. No. That's one thing that they don't want to have is a chemistry problem here. So, but it leads me to my third talking point. This is my absolute favorite one in the whole entire world that we heard this past week. And I'm so glad it was been called out on social media too. Is that the Yankees fought hard, and Aaron Judge fought harder to keep Cody Bellinger than they did Juan Soto.
Yeah.
This is the whopper, right? Jonathan, you to go first, man. You give me your thoughts on this because I got a couple of things about it, but you go first.
They fought so hard to get him back, but like I said, overall, I think it was a little bit of an overpay, honestly. But I don't think he had another option out there. I don't think anybody else wanted him.
Mhm.
at least not at that price. So, as I told you a few weeks ago, even before he signed, I would have given him a deadline, and if he didn't get that deadline, I would have just taken it away. That's why I wanted to move on to the Japanese players, because I'm so sick of Boris and Bellinger just walking the tightrope when nothing else gets done with the team.
Ken?
I think that the Yankees stood fast. They didn't give Bellinger one more year than they wanted to give him. They settled at 5. Money was a little bit higher. In any negotiation, it's a decent deal if both sides walk away a little bit unhappy. And certainly Boris and Bellinger didn't get 7 years and $210 million. And the Yankees didn't give up more time that they wanted. They gave up a little bit more cash. We're going to take our big hit this year with regard to the cap because of the bonus that's paid in.
Mhm.
Also, could you see this scenario, assuming that Grisham and Jones are both playing well in June, July? Could you see Grisham possibly traded and Jones called up?
Probably not.
No.
No.
Why would you trade Grisham if he's playing well?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
understand the whole fixation on trading Grisham at all.
I don't. Maybe because if you have two outfielders both playing well, you can trade one for a position of need.
But then who would be the fourth outfielder if we trade one of them?
Well, that's the question.
That's I personally I wouldn't trade Grisham. I wouldn't do it, but that's just me. But here's my take on it. Ken, are you finished saying what you want to say about?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here's my take. The Yankees and Bellinger showed mutual interest, right? Let's not forget a few things. After Juan Soto signed with the Mets, that night there was videos of him dancing in his jacuzzi, pouring champagne all over himself, right? Because of all the extra perks he got and all the money he got and so on and so forth, okay? He went for the money in the bag, right? It was his right to do, but $760 million was not enough for Juan Soto. That is $400 million more than they gave Aaron Judge, okay? And $400 million more than they gave Aaron Judge, who also moved to center field to accommodate Juan Soto so he could play right field, right? Aaron Judge is an elite right fielder, but he moved to center, okay? And then so many people were talking about that catch that he dropped in center field during the World Series. They talked about that for a year, right? And that was one of the big talking points too. But remember, he went to play at a position that wasn't a natural position for him to accommodate Juan Soto. Also, what did we find out a week after he signed with the Mets? He changed his phone number. So none of his teammates can get a hold of him. Remember that? I do. Okay? Nobody wants to talk about that, including the channel that put out this ridiculous video on this. Okay? Right? Complete lies. And they know about this stuff. Okay? Judge played out of position to accommodate Soto, right? They wanted Soto back, otherwise they wouldn't have given him $400 million more than Aaron Judge. Okay, obviously he was going into his 25th season. It was his time to cash in. He cashed in. Good for him. Congratulations. But $760 million wasn't enough for him. He had to go for the suite for his mom and the shopping and the entourage and blah, blah, blah. Those aren't perks that the Yankees give any of their players. So why would they give it to Juan Soto, not give it to their own captain, right? Who's a better player than Juan Soto? So just the thought that they didn't they fought harder to bring back Bellinger, who again was in regular dialogue with the Yankees. He didn't ghost the team. Soto did, right? How can anybody with a straight face put out that narrative, put out that video saying that they fought harder to keep Bellinger than they did Juan Soto and actually expect to be taken seriously? I'm not going to name drop the person who did the video. They're not worth talking about. Okay.
And to Brendan Moore's question, the answer is I would, if ERC pitches well, I would put him in the starting rotation and put Yarbrough in the bullpen.
Well, first of all, Yarbrough's already in the bullpen. He's not a starter. Your starting rotation lines up as Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, Ryan Weathers, and Luis Hill. Yarbrough is set as your long relief pitcher out of the pen.
And to that point, this is why I think they're going to bring in another starting pitcher, because I think they know they do not want Weathers in their rotation. Right? They want him where he belongs, in the bullpen. At least that's my take on it. I don't know if you guys agree.
If they don't bring in another pitcher, and since ERC is pitching in the World Baseball Classic, if he pitches well in the World Baseball Classic, do you think that's a show to a possible starting role?
Say that again. Jonathan, before you say it, just respond to this question, this comment. Disagree, Des. I don't know if you heard. We were just talking about this. He did not fight harder for Bellinger. Okay, he did stay in contact. Do you know why he stayed in contact with Bellinger? Because Bellinger didn't change his number. He didn't ghost the team. Juan Soto did. He changed his number. Nobody could get a hold of him. Did we expect Aaron Judge to send the Gestapo out to look for him? So it's important to point that out, because this is a lie being peddled by one specific content creator. That is not true. Okay, just as an attempt at blaming Aaron Judge, which is total blowing. Sorry about Jonathan. Can you ask that question again?
And I was assuming that ERC pitches well in the World Baseball Classic. Could you see him as a possible starter and put Yarbrough in the pen?
Not right off the bat.
Yarbrough's already in the pen.
I know, but that was my question.
I think.
Is there any way you see Cruz in the starting rotation in opening day?
No.
Possible.
I don't.
If we move one of the starters in a trade, there's a possibility that ERC or Homer Cruz could be in our rotation.
And the reason why I asked that is because we're already down Cole and Schmidt.
Des, Judge is not going to throw his own teammates under the bus. That's one reason why he's a captain.
Judge
they don't throw their teammates under the bus.
Judge is a very similar person to Derek Jeter.
Yes.
In terms of
they don't trash players. They don't trash players or teammates. But we found out a week after he signed with the Mets that he changed his number. Okay? Nobody can get a hold of him.
Well, that's 2 years in the past, and those are questions that only those are questions I don't think about.
It's crazy because there's 2 years in the past and people are still putting out content attacking Judge for this, which is completely disingenuous, completely dishonest. Sorry, good. Sorry, Ken, go ahead.
Just to answer something that Ben put out there. I think that if Bellinger would have had a 6 or 7 year deal out from any other organization, he would have signed it.
Probably.
I think that we probably had the best offer on the table, and he realized he wasn't going to get any better offer. That's why he did come back.
They also told Boris to go find a better offer and bring it back.
And look, if Bellinger had a better season overall, I think he may have gotten a 6-year deal.
Maybe. But I think Scott Boras overplayed his hand too.
He did. He absolutely did. He should have. I don't think I think it would have been smart to ask for a 6-year deal from the start, not a 7.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he may have gotten it.
That was the second time that Boris has hosed over Bellinger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not going to take a fraud and cheated word saying that the Yankees favorite. I don't understand what Brandon Moore is saying.
If the Yankees have a fantasy roster nonsense. Yeah, I don't buy it. Yeah, I don't.
One more starter, one more reliever would be great. Yes, but also remember we have Cole coming back.
And that's the thing too, right? Like when we're talking about running it back, they're running part of the team back, not all of it.
Yes.
We're going to start off at a better position than we started off in 2025. So I do think this team has a good chance of winning more games than they won last year.
And the other thing is, I think the sleeper that not many people think about is Chase Hampton.
Could be.
I think he will be a quiet piece, and he could be part of the rotation, assuming he's fully healthy, and he might be able to do what Cam Splitzler did last year.
Could be. Folks, the Yankees are looking to bring in a righty bat.
Yeah, a righty bat is what I think is what they need, which is why earlier I wanted a guy like Arise, contact righty.
Yeah, and who hits lefties well? A righty bat who hits lefties well. That was a problem that the Yankees have had quite a bit. I mean, Cody Bellinger, to his credit, he hits lefties well as a lefty hitter. So it's a nice balance. It really is a nice balance. So I do.
Can I ask you a question? If A-Rod was such a respected figure in baseball, why has no organization chose to bring him on board as a coach, manager, special advisor? He's a mouthpiece that has a microphone.
Well, Alex Rodriguez is his own. We can have a different show with that.
Look, he's an all-time hitter.
Yes,
but he's also a jackass with his mouth.
Well, I've met him in person. He's a really nice guy in person.
Yeah,
but in public, it's a different story.
Look, and I remember when he was there with Gary Sheffield and some of those other guys, and those guys admitted that there was way too much ego on the team that affected their chemistry, right? Did they win any titles when A-Rod and Sheffield were? Did they even go to a World Series when A-Rod and Sheffield were together on the same team? No.
And that was the mistake in after 2004. We had a deal for Guerrero, and they signed Sheffield. With Guerrero on the team, I think they would have gotten the World Series.
But that was George's deal.
That was George's deal.
And George is a great baseball guy. He knows everything about baseball, and that's why we went 19 years without a World Series championship under his leadership.
George's deal caused the fallout of the 1980s. In every year of the 1980s, except after 1981, they were signing players, causing them to lose draft picks until they tanked in 1990.
And when did they draft a core 4 and sign core 5?
When Steinbrenner was suspended from baseball.
Steinbrenner was banned from baseball. Yeah. For those that don't know,
I can tell you, in 1990 they drafted Posada and they signed Mariano. 90, I think it was 86. They got Bernie.
90. It wasn't 86.
No,
it's like 90.
90
no,
is
they signed him as a minor league free agent.
Miley, okay.
91 is when Bernie came up. I'm talking about when they joined the organization, not when when they entered
Sure.
Major League Baseball. And it was all between 1986 and 1992, and 3 of them were 1990 to 1992.
And that was when George Steinbrenner was banned from the game for those 3 years.
Bernie Williams signed with the New York Yankees in 1985 on his 17th birthday.
In 1985, I thought it was 86, but 85.
Nope.
But for those that don't know, George Steinbrenner hired a bookie to try to sabotage Dave Winfield, to try to manufacture dirt on Dave Winfield. And for that reason, he was banned for life from baseball, but they reinstated him after 3 years. And during that 3-year period, that's when they brought in Jeter and some of these other guys who actually, he eventually tried to trade Jeter. He eventually tried to trade Mariano Rivera, right?
Yeah.
And Posada.
And Posada. And who talked him out of it? His son, Hal Steinbrenner, talked him out of trading for these guys. So
Stick Michaels and Bob Watson also said they resign if they traded Jeter.
yeah, those exactly. So there's a lot of stuff that people don't talk about because they spend so much time saying George is the – and look, I don't question George's desire to win. He's a revered figure. He was hated also by other owners in the other teams because he bullied the rest of baseball. But, like, he wouldn't be able to do that today's game.
No, today's game is the Dodgers.
Yeah. It's and
this is the one lesson that I would learn from George is when you're the owner of the team, you hire baseball people to surround you with knowing. You surround yourself with great baseball people with experience in draft and scouting.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you want to make a trade, you talk with all these guys you hire saying, is this the guy we should trade for this player? Or is this prospect we have could be someone who can help us win the World Series?
Yep. Shout out to everybody in chat, by the way. Everybody smack the like button if you don't mind. Please make sure you subscribe to Yankees Ugly Truth as well. But and to your point, Jonathan, to your point, Ken, to like this leads us to talking point number 4. Right? The Yankees haven't won the World Series in 16 years. That's a complaint by, and it's true, right? But let's break it. Let's timeline this because whenever they say that, they always compare it to the Dodgers, right? So many people. Let's bring this back a little bit. The Dodgers, in 2020 was the COVID shortened season, right? 60-game season. The Dodgers won the World Series then.
Before that, it was 88.
It was 88. So how many years is that between 88 and 2020?
32.
32. Okay. 32 divided by 2 is what?
16.
Okay. The Dodgers went twice the amount of years than the Yankees did before winning World Series. Twice the amount. 32 years versus 16. The Mets are going on 36 years, right? Or 30, more than that, actually, almost 39 years. Without
They're
winning.
going on 40 years.
40 years. This is the 40th year. The Mets haven't won a World Series. So, and that's a lot. That dwarfs the 16 by the Yankees. But I understand people are frustrated about the Yankees. But when did the Dodgers start to turn things around?
After
When they were bought by a freaking trust fund where they had unlimited flow.
They filed for bankruptcy in 2011. Right, McCourt. He filed for bankruptcy. He had an expensive divorce. He also couldn't meet his payroll obligations. Now we went over this in a video and broke it down, right? And they filed for bankruptcy, and then a year later they were bought by the Guggenheim Group, right? And at that point too, they had lost the TV deal, which Guggenheim Group secured another TV deal worth $3.5 billion. The Dodgers make $334 million in additional revenue every year, on top of all the money that they also bring in. That's not subject to revenue sharing.
It's not revenue shared. So that's a whole different rule.
It's extra money. It's monopoly. It's play money for the Dodgers that no other team in baseball has. Okay, so this is one of the big reasons why they're able to operate the way that they operate right now.
This
right?
is why they don't mind spending as much money as it
And,
needs to
and
win.
deferring $1.5 billion worth of contracts because they're able to do that now, right? 2 years of this TV deal pays off the entire Otani contract. They could just put that in an account, let it collect interest for 10 years, and it's more than what they need. But keep in
Well,
mind,
the question is how do you change the next CBA to allow
well,
other
this,
teams?
this it leads me to your point. People say the Dodgers are breaking baseball. Are they really breaking baseball, or did baseball break baseball?
Baseball created this monster.
Yes, they enabled this. All this stuff was approved by MLB. The Dodgers are exploiting this, right? They're exploiting it. Just like Juan Soto exploited Steve Cohen in the Mets when he got those extra perks to go to the Mets, right? Everybody following. Okay. So when people say they haven't won in 16 years, there's a lot more that goes along to it than that. The Yankees don't operate in the same stratosphere that the Dodgers do now. Nobody does, right? And that's just a fact that everybody has to deal with. Now, and people are also angry that the Yankees don't spend more. Their payroll is the highest it's ever been, $335 million right now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a flex. As much as people saying they're bragging about it, I don't hear anybody in the Yankees bragging about their payroll. Not a single person, right? So, but this is that's the talking point. They haven't won a World Series in 16 years, right?
Sunil is very funny.
Sunil always got jokes. How you doing, Sunil? But again, we can defer. We're in New York City, but they choose not to. Okay, we can't get. I don't know. Why would we want to get hedge fund dudes? Why would we want some other corporation to own the Yankees?
The Yankees already have, I don't know how many partners, 6 or 7.
No, it's not BS actually. Okay, the franchise is worth $9 billion. That includes the TV deal and everything else. That doesn't mean they have that much in profit. There's a difference between profits and revenues. We've spoken about this in great detail a dozen times. Okay, they don't defer money. If you're owned by venture capital, if anything, if you're familiar with venture capital, they predicate themselves upon what? Deferring money and leveraging debt, right? So, which allows you to. And if you look at the payroll for the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani's contract is stretched out for 20 years in terms of the payroll hit.
He's only getting $2 million a year.
$2 million a year for the years that he's playing. And then he's going to get $68 million a year every year that he's not playing for them. But you know what's going to happen? He's not going to be in California. He's probably going to be back in Japan. So guess what? He's not going to have to pay California taxes. He's not going to have to pay federal taxes because he'll be in Japan. Nobody is talking about this. Nobody. Okay.
I think California is trying to change that.
Well, California, they would love to change it, but it's that has to be. I mean, you can't. A state can't change federal taxes, right? So unfortunately, that's got to be legislatively done through government, and I doubt that's going to happen. But that being said, this is going to come back. I believe this is going to come back to haunt the Dodgers later on because they're not going to be bringing in the same revenue when Shohei Ohtani's gone, right? When Yamamoto's gone, but they're going to be paying a boatload of their contracts when they're not here for a different team.
Well, and they want the short-term gain.
What do I suggest other teams do, Pixelman? I said one of the things I've talked about is I'm a proponent. Jonathan, I've spoken to Jonathan and Ken about this, of a salary floor.
Yeah.
Right? Require the teams that receive a lot of revenue sharing from teams like the Yankees and the Mets and partly the Dodgers, require them to spend a certain amount of money on their team to invest in their players. That way the Yankees aren't just giving them free money for them to pocket. And I say this a lot. They have beautiful luxury suites in their stadiums, but they have nobody sitting in them. Nobody.
And I have mentioned to you before, I think I mentioned to you just last week, the MLB should have a rule that all the luxury money that the teams get from other teams should be required to be spent on the team itself.
Yes.
And if they do not spend it on the team, they must forfeit it back to the team that paid them.
Yes, 100%. Okay, and again, people keep saying the Dodgers have a plan to reap the benefits. A lot of what they're doing is going to be one of the things that have led to the lockout, right? But again, you can thank baseball for making it possible for them, right? They are exploiting this. Good for them. It's their right to do. Okay, but they're not going to be able to skirt responsibility if there's a lockout, and most likely there will be some type of lockout, right? These are some of the contentious talking points that owners in the union are going to be fighting over.
Yeah. Well, and another thing with the CBA, I would like to get rid of some of the onerous penalties that they have it. I don't think a team should lose 10 spots in a draft for trying to improve their team.
I don't think so
I
either.
don't think they should be penalized for trying to improve their team.
You shouldn't penalize teams that are investing in their product.
No, I think you should penalize teams that do not invest in their product, that exploit other teams.
Yeah. But there's no reason why the Dodgers should have $300 million not subject to revenue sharing, and no other team has that, which is what makes it easier for them to sign these monster contracts like Kyle Tucker to $60 million a year and deferring a ton of it, deferring a ton of Ohtani, deferring a ton of Yamamoto. That's why they're able to do this financially. So they can manipulate the numbers.
To fix. They need to, I don't know if fix is the right word, but they need to look. How about this? How about we talk? What are ways baseball itself can solve this issue of all this deferred money? All this not the deferred money is not the problem, but all the extra.
They're going to have a salary floor, and they're going to have to put, at least strict limitations on
how much you can defer,
or strict with that, and strict penalties on teams that don't spend the money that's given to them in revenue sharing.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Until you solve those problems, you're always going to have teams that spend more than well over more. And every owner in baseball is a billionaire. Nobody that owns a baseball team is dying of hunger.
Mm-hmm. Every team can defer, but how many teams do defer, Luis?
Only one. Well,
okay, and the Guardians just deferred some of what's his name, Jose Ramirez's contract. What are they, $150 million under the tax threshold?
Yeah.
They're not subject to any type of penalties. It's easy for a team like that to defer.
What don't I have a clue about, Mike? What I'm talking about?
Not listening to fans complain about not signing overpriced free agents. Or under the threshold by not signing bad contracts. But keep in mind, too, this is another talking point, that the Yankees have a poor allocation of the resources and so on and so forth, right? Let's just use Garrett Cole's contract. He got hurt, 5 years into his contract? Right, Tommy John? I think 4 or 5 years in.
Yeah.
DJ LeMahieu got hurt, halfway into his contract?
I think after 2 years.
Something like that. And then Aaron Hicks got hurt a couple years into his contract.
Yeah.
So what looked like a bargain when it was signed turned out to be an onerous contract in the end. DJ LeMahieu and Aaron Hicks. Now, who would have thought they would have been hurt like that? Do you think they would have signed a contract out knowing like they would have been hurt?
No.
Right? So, before people say this poor allocation of resources and so on and so forth, in order to sign a player that's New York, which has higher taxes, and a New York City wage tax to live in New York City, which is an additional tax you have to pay, right? They have to sign these guys to higher contracts in order for them to come here. Okay? And that also is, and again, one of the other factors, not everybody wants to come here and play for the Yankees. So, I mean, what do you guys? I mean, do you guys have any thoughts on this? I want to know what your thoughts are.
Ken.
Jonathan.
I'm reading the comments, but
Who doesn't want to wear pinstripes? Oh, let's see. Ken Griffey Jr. didn't want to wear pinstripes. Greg Maddux didn't want pinstripes.
Vladimir Jr.
Right. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. didn't want to wear pinstripes. Alex Bregman doesn't want to wear pinstripes.
There are a lot of people who don't want to who can't handle New York.
A lot,
Or
exactly.
don't want to handle New York.
A lot of people can't handle New York. And again, we've talked about this too. You know, you're not in Cincinnati or Milwaukee where you're dealing with, a mosquito's nest. You're dealing with a hornet's nest here of fans and media beat writers. It is relentless here.
Randy Johnson didn't want to come here.
Right? Things get amplified by 1,000 here. People are talking about this stuff a year later. People are still talking about why did they bring in Nestor Cortez instead of Tim Hill to pitch to Freddie Freeman in the World Series. 2 years later, they're still bringing these ridiculous talking points up. Right?
Yeah, I could ask, why didn't the Yankees sign Pedro Martinez after 1996?
Yeah. Ohtani didn't want to come here too. Exactly. He didn't even give the Yankees the time of day. Okay? He didn't even give them the time of day. Okay? So, and Soto, right? He could have come back here. He was offered $760 million. He didn't come back here.
The Greg Maddux. The Yankees had a deal with Greg Maddux, but they
didn't show up. The Yankees didn't show up.
The Yankees didn't show up. They had a deal with him. If the Yankees signed Greg Maddux in 1992, they probably would have won the World Series in '95, and you might not even have Joe Torre on the team.
Ken, are you muted? All right, take your time. Take your time. Hey, they didn't show up. They didn't show up to do the contract with Greg Maddux, so he took less money to go to the Braves.
Yeah.
And Ken Griffey Jr. has said this publicly. He did not want to come here because of the way they treated his dad when he was here. Okay.
And they had a deal with Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and George didn't want him.
George Steinbrenner overruled Brian Cashman, who got an agreement with Vlad Sr.
And it's the same thing with David Ortiz. The Yankees Cashman had a deal with David Ortiz, and Steinbrenner wanted Giambi.
All this stuff, again.
So, if Cashman got his way, we would have had Ortiz and Guerrero on the team after 2004. 2003, instead of Giambi and Sheffield. How many more World Series would we have had starting in 2004 with Ortiz and Guerrero on the team?
I don't know. But again, which leads me to the final talking point, right? George Steinbrenner would be rolling in his grave if he saw what Hal Steinbrenner's been doing, right?
George Steinbrenner has been gone for quite a while.
Yes, he has, and may he rest in peace. Okay, but again, he also had a shipping industry which financed the Yankees for him. Right? Yes. He was the richest owner in the game. He used to bully the other owners. They hated him. He also did what he wanted. Now he wouldn't even be the richest owner in New York. Right? Not even in his own city. Forget about baseball. He wouldn't even be the richest owner in the city. So there's no guarantee he would have operated the same way as he did before, especially with all the stuff that's going on now. He didn't have to pay first of all, he didn't pay $100 million a year to finance a new stadium. Okay. He also is not paying $150 million in revenue sharing every year. He's not paying.
Aren't they done financing the stadium in 10 years or so?
What's that?
the stadium finance. They're done in what, 8
It's
years, 10 years,
projected to be done at 2030.
2030. So they have another 4 years
Five,
before they're done with that.
something like that. That's the projected date. So, again, try calling Vlad Jr. or Vlad Sr. Their cell phones. No, neither one rings. Yeah, but what's the thing too? Listen, this like I don't. Can somebody tell me why other people on social media and content creators omit so much of a story? They'll tell you 20% of what they want you to hear and leave out the other 80%.
I think it's all about emotion. They talk with their emotions and not with their brain.
You're probably right. And they probably know that the people that watch them do the same thing and they don't fact check them.
Yeah,
Right?
and they don't fact check. Yeah,
I mean, fact checking is important. And the three of us on the screen do it all the time.
yeah. I always do my best when it comes to fact check.
And facts don't generate the clicks and the views that talking points and rants do, right? I get that. That's fine. And I'm okay with that. But I'd rather the people that watch us know what's going on. Right? So and that to me is more important than anything else. So you guys deserve to know the full story. Ken's having a mic issue.
Well, that's that. It's always important, and even when you get when you get all the facts, that's more important than just talking online.
Ken, you can check out and come back in if you want.
Yeah, maybe that would help.
See if that works. You can leave the screen and come back in. I don't even know if you can hear us. Try to click off and come back in, Ken. Let's see. Let's see if I can. Hang on.
I'm only seeing a thumbs up. Oh.
There you go. See if he comes back now. So those are the 5 main talking points that we wanted to kind of go over today. And these are the ones that seem to be driving the most emotion. But again, there seems to be an awful lot of misinformed and poorly informed or uninformed people. And a lot of them come into streams that are run by people that do research and fact check. And we're not here to talk down to people and all that stuff. That's not who we are. Okay, we want folks to have the right information. And that's why it's important to us to do that. And hopefully you guys, and we appreciate the feedback we get from you guys. Hope Aaron Judge doesn't get hurt in the World Baseball. The Yankees have 10 players going to the World Baseball Classic, by the way. 10.
Yeah. And pitchers and catchers in 12 days.
Pitchers and catchers report in 12 days. And I do expect the Yankees to have a right-handed bat by then, maybe 2, and a pitcher.
Right. Yeah, I think many of our questions we have now will be answered in spring training.
I agree. And again, keep in mind, folks, not only, and to your point with the guys getting hurt in the World Baseball Classic, that happens, which increases the need for teams to what? Make trades. And then if the Yankees have something that people need, then this is where they can make trades. And also, people also get cut during spring training and get picked up by other teams. So you'll see a lot of transactions happening the first couple of weeks in spring training as well.
Yeah, so there might be a guy getting cut. If the Yankees are desperate in need of righty bats, I'm sure there will be plenty of guys getting cut from other teams that the Yankees might be able to pick up on.
Probably. Now, if I'm the Yankees, I'm prioritizing Nico Hoerner over everybody else.
Yes, but Nico Hoerner will cost you a good.
He's the only guy I'd be willing to overpay for. I'm not going to overpay for a number 3 starter, which Freddie Peralta would have been. or a number 4 starter, which Mackenzie Core would have been, I would not have overpaid for those guys. Nico Horner is a different story. He's an everyday player. He checks much more boxes, at least my opinion, right? So, yes, Yankees girl. It's 12 days away. Pitchers and catchers.
Yes. So there's going to be over the next month. There's going to be a lot more things, a lot more news coming out.
Yeah. But it's would I overpay for 1 year of school ball? It depends on the overpay. Not what they asked for. I would not give Ben Rice and Cam Schlittler. There's no way in the world I would do that for 1 year of school.
I don't think I'm trading. I think Schlittler is on my no trade list.
Yeah. You know what would cost less than 1 year of school ball? 2 months of school ball. Wait for the trade deadline. Pay less.
I guess. Yeah. Well, that's another thing. I would like the trade deadline to be moved back 2 weeks.
So it's being moved back to August 3rd. Only a couple of days, but that's the new trade deadline this year, August 3rd.
Well, the trade deadline used to be August 15th, I think, before 2012.
That's right.
I wouldn't mind it being that late, especially since you have expanded playoffs. I think you need the expanded trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense to push it back 2 weeks. And I hope that's one thing they discuss in the new CBA.
Mm-hmm. I think Caballero can lead off. Yes, I would rather. If I had to choose between him or Trent Grisham, I would rather bank Trent Grisham like 7th, something like that.
Yeah, I think Grisham would be more comfortable at a lower order. Same with Volpe.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought Volpe would have been better at the bottom third.
Mm-hmm. Ken, welcome back.
How you doing? Can you hear me now?
There he is.
There he is. Bitch.
No, it's all right. We held the fort down. My biggest offseason winners are probably the Orioles, and the Mets.
The losers.
Biggest losers?
I'm not sure.
Biggest losers.
Who had a bad off season this year?
Who had
Padres so far?
Padres. That's probably the biggest because Yu Darvish is retiring. Yeah. They probably had the worst off season. The Padres.
Well, they lost Cease. They lost They're losing Darvish.
They just lost Arias today.
Arias just left.
Yeah.
They had the worst ranked left field in baseball, defensively and offensively.
But
maybe the Reds too.
Isn't the Padres getting sold? Don't they have money issues?
They do have money issues. They do. Yeah, there's a problem going on with the people who are selling it and how to divvy up ownership and percentage and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of haggling going on with the sale itself.
I remember reading about that last year, but I never saw anything about a sell.
Yeah, so they're in financial turmoil. That's why people keep bringing up they got to sell Tatis. They got to trade Tatis, right? I very much doubt that's going to happen. They're going to try to trade somebody. It's probably going to be Xander Bogaerts, not Tatis.
Well, Bogaerts has such a bad contract.
Exactly. That's why they're probably going to try to get rid of it.
Actually, if you look at their big three, Bogaerts, Machado, and Tatis, the back end of those contracts are beasts.
Oh, it's nightmare, absolute nightmare. I mean, Tatis has 10 years left, right, on his deal. The next 4 years are
Tatis has 20 million. He has 20 million on his deal this year. He has 25 the next 2 years, and then for the rest of the contract, it's 37.
Yeah, $37 million for the last 5 years, which is nuts.
The one benefit the Yankees have this year is they saved $10 million on
Giancarlo Stanton.
prospects.
Yep.
The question is, what are they going to do with that extra $10 million?
Well,
Well,
they
I would have
definitely.
thought it while the DFA Stanton and pay him his $34 million that we owe him and bring a rise
Well,
in.
here's the problem with that. If you I don't know if you DFA Stanton, do you still get the money from the Marlins?
Yes.
You do.
Jason,
Yeah.
Jason and I looked that up.
The
So,
Marlins still have to pay $10 million of it no matter what. But why would you DFA Stanton? And
We're going to lose him for 60 games anyhow.
yeah, but who's going to provide better production than Stanton, even in 60
Well,
games?
if we would have been able to bring in a rise to be the DH, I'd have had no heartburn with that.
well, we could have had Bryce Harper for money,
Yeah, I don't give a damn about Bryce Harper.
Yeah, well,
but he would be one guy who would provide the same offensive Stanton.
I mean, he would have, but that's in the past now. Nothing we can do about it. So,
I know, but
unfortunately,
And he's just as injured as Stanton anyhow. So
and he's not a righty. So that's like basically what the Yankees are looking for right now is a righty bat, right? So that's where that's at least me. I'm stay locked in on that. Like,
well, I'm
that's
very
been
curious
my
who
call
that
for a
righty
while.
bat would be.
I'm hoping that it's Nico Horner, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not enamored with any of those other guys. Tommy Pham, Austin Slater, or Randall Grichuk. If I had to choose between any of those three, it'd probably Randall Grichuk because he's got at least hits lefties at a better clip than some of those guys. But
I mean, you might as well throw Andahar in that pile.
yeah, you could throw him into that pile. Yeah,
I think if I sign someone, I probably would sign Andujar.
well, he's got the best batting average against lefties. He bats like 390 versus lefties.
Well, that's why I signed him.
My problem is that where would you play him on the field? Because he's a terrible defensive player. He's a nightmare.
He would be a bench piece.
Yeah, but I mean that's he's a guy that I'm not sure. Well, I don't know. I think he's going to wind up getting a starting job somewhere. And like at least Nico Horner, he can get 130 games here, 140 games here, no matter what, because he can play multiple positions in the infield, and you can sit Ryan McMahon and you can play Nico Horner at third and not lose any defense at all, right? Because he's an elite club.
Well, they have Rosario also.
They do have Rosario, and I think Rosario could be the backup to Rice at first base if this guy Nick Torres doesn't pan out.
But Rosario's best position on the field is right field.
The right field too, so he could also be the fourth outfielder, the righty bat for the outfield.
Well,
so
I'm hoping that also Cabrera can return and show some of what he showed last year.
If he can, yeah. I mean, but I think now he's been knocked down. He's below Rosario and below Caballero now.
Yeah, that one injury cost him a lot.
Yep. Sucks because he's a great clubhouse.
Actually, I don't think it cost him because he isn't the defensive player that McMahon is.
Well,
and we were shopping for a third baseman even with Cabrera there. He wasn't the permanent fix.
True, and I think McMahon's got lockdown on third base for the next 2 years. Andujar has a strong arm, but can he get to the ball? Is the question. So,
and he was playing outfield a little bit.
He played a little bit of outfield too. But again, look, if they get Andujar, I'm not going to complain. He hits lefties extremely well. But how do you fit him? Like, I think it's easier to fit Nico Horner than it is Andujar. Because you can plug in, you could just throw Andujar. I mean, you could throw Horner right at shortstop right now without missing a beat.
I mean, what you have to look at is all the players that you've listed as possible right-handed bats. Is there a difference maker that puts us in a better position for the postseason?
Not really.
There's one.
Nico Horner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's the only one.
Well, the question is, what are the Cubs willing to trade him, and what are you going to trade?
I have no problem giving them Hill or Warren.
What do the Cubs need?
Pitching.
Pitching and more pitching depth.
Yeah. So I would give them Hill. And
They probably want maybe 2 or 3 pitchers and a bat.
Don't need a bat.
yeah, I don't know where they've got a lot of bats there.
Then you probably have to give up 3 pitchers in that deal.
And I'd probably be okay with that. I would give them 1 major league pitcher and then 2 minor league pitchers.
There were Hill,
Bryce Cunningham,
Cunningham.
and then I don't know, Brendan Beck or something else. Another pitching prospect, not named Ben Hess, not named ERC or LaGrange.
But they may want one of those guys.
Doesn't mean they're going to get him.
I would give him Lalani.
I'll drive Alani there myself. You can have Alani. I have no problem giving them Alani. 0.
I mean, personally, if there's a deal to be had, that's the one I'm making.
Yeah, me too.
So who are your 3 players, Ken?
I'm thinking that they would want Warren because he's got that year of major league experience under his belt. He's got a higher upside than I think Hill does because of Hill's injury. I think one of our top flight arms, not named Rodriguez, or
It might cost Hampton. They might ask for Chase Hampton.
Hampton might be the one.
And now he's also kind of in a similar boat as Oswaldo Cabrera. He's behind DRC. He's behind LaGrange. He's behind Ben Hess probably.
Yep.
He's also got some catching up to do, unfortunately.
Well, if Hampton has a good spring training, he can easily bump that up, and he's going to get his shot with a guy being out.
The problem that you have with Hampton is he hasn't pitched above Double-A yet.
This is true too.
Yeah.
Got a big arm. There's no doubt about that.
He does have a big arm, but he's had a whole year off too.
Mm-hmm. So that's, I mean, that other piece. I mean, it could be Bryce Cunningham. I don't know, but I agree with Ken. That's the, if I'm gonna make a deal, that's the one I'm making, Nico Horner. Because also, there was talk about him, getting like an extension for 5 years, 90 million, 100 million, whatever it might be. And at that point, if you had an opportunity to give him 5 years, 100 million, would you rather give him 100 million or give Jazz 180 million?
Horner.
I think that would be the other question. So, I mean, as much as you like Jazz, but would you rather replace Jazz after this year with Horner at second? And if Lombard's ready at shortstop, you could plug Lombard at short. And then he's surrounded by 2 elite gloves on each side. He's also an elite glove himself.
I would do it.
Look at that ridiculous infield defense then.
Well, I think that's what you're building with because of all the soft contact ground ball pitchers that we have.
Mm-hmm. But with that said, yeah, I mean, having a good defense to back up ground ball pitchers like Max Fried. If for some reason Horner doesn't happen, and if we're going to stay in-house, then Caballero probably is going to be my leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
Because he has speed, he get on base, and I want somebody who can get on base in front of Cody Bellinger, who I would bat second, I would bat Aaron Judge third. And then if you get on base as a leadoff hitter, you're going to give Cody Bellinger more pitches to hit, right? Because you're not going to want to put him on base and have 2 guys on base for Aaron Judge on a regular basis.
And the other thing, assuming he's leadoff hitter, I would not be afraid of stealing bases more. The
We're not-
Yankees have not taken advantage of stealing bases recently, and I think they should be more aggressive on the bases.
That's why I'm glad they brought in Caballero because he's become a stolen base machine with the Yankees.
But
Yeah, but the Yankees have
but
had a lot of needless people thrown out on base, especially people like Jazz and Caballeros trying to steal third base when they can score on a single from second.
Hmm.
I mean, it's got to be smarter
third.
base running.
Hmm.
They
And again,
should try to stop stealing third.
we could have a lot of 30, 40 stolen base guys this year. Quite a few.
Yankees were actually 8th in the major leagues in stolen bases.
Hmm. They also had the 8th worst ERA with the bullpen this past year in 2025. I expect that to be better this year
Yeah.
with the bullpen. So there are areas I think we're running it back doesn't apply because they're going to be bringing back. They're running some of it back, but they're going to have been. I think they're going to have a better starting point than they had in 2025.
I think so, but I think the AL East out of the whole is going to be very tough.
Well, and keep in mind too, some of the Yankees' biggest threats are no longer in the AL East. Bregman left the Red Sox. Bichette left the Blue Jays. Right, and the Blue Jays had everything go right for them last year. I remember saying that the Blue Jays were the team to beat in the American League
With
on more than one occasion,
yeah.
right? And they were the team to beat in the American League.
Yeah, everything go right except Game 7 of the World Series.
Yeah, exactly. And again,
Actually, that's not necessarily true either.
they got
One boneheaded play by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa cost them the World Series.
Yeah. And they had everything go right for them last year. Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero had career year. I mean, George Springer had career year. Like a lot of these guys had career years. That's going to happen again for them to get to the World Series again.
And Cody Clement.
Come
on now.
Yep, Clement. That's right.
Boy, that guy hit.
That guy, Trey Savage.
Your Savage is going to have to bring in the same, right? He's going to have to do the same thing for them. And they lost Bassett, right? As of right now, they lost Scherzer, so they lost some guys too. They brought in Cease, obviously, right? But beyond that, who do they have?
Yeah, drastic overpay.
So, there's no guarantee they're going to go back to the World Series. I mean, I think the team that improved the most in the American League East is the freaking Orioles.
Yeah.
No.
The Orioles are gonna be a scary team for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, they're gonna be pretty good, man. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, they have to make a run. They got a young nucleus of dynamic players, and they had to add some veterans to it, which they did with Taylor Ward and who else? Pete Alonso. So, I think they still need to add a pitcher.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem. But also, I believe the Orioles have one of the best farm systems, so they can trade.
Their farm system is outstanding with regard to position players, although a lot of their position players are now in the major leagues.
So they can use that for a top-notch pitcher if they want.
They can, but they can also sign somebody like Framber Valdez.
Yeah.
Not have to worry about giving up draft picks because their farm is ranked so high anyway. So
well, if they want to do that, they could.
They could.
And Scuba's not going anywhere. That's the update.
There's 2 weeks left to pitchers and catchers, and there are 24 starting pitchers that still have not signed. So there's going to be a flurry of activity in the next week or two. So, because people are going to want to have a full preseason with their teams, right? So,
well, I would hope,
especially pitchers, right? Pitchers, and Ken knows this too. Like pitchers, you have to build up your pitch count. You have to build up your arm endurance. That's the adjustment period for pitchers, right? Getting their release points, getting their mechanics right. Hitters, what's the adjustment? Timing. You have to catch up with timing, right? Which is mechanically involved too. So it's a different adjustment period than it is for hitters.
That's why pitchers and catchers are usually 10 days before spring training.
Yeah, they need time to ramp things up a little bit differently than everybody else, and catchers need to adjust to the pitchers that they're facing. I mean, Austin Wells has 10 pitches he needs to get used to again. So I keep freezing on the screen. I don't know why.
Weather.
There we go. But there's nothing with Tarek Skubal. I don't think Tarek Skubal is going to get traded in this offseason. I'd be shocked if he gets traded.
No, I don't think Skubal is getting traded. Man, the only way Skubal would get traded if the Tigers tank next year and they trade him at the deadline.
Trade him at the deadline. And then at that point, you're not going to get as much for him. But a team might be, desperate enough to give you a little bit more than other teams would get if they feel like he's the missing piece. Some team will give you something, but I think he stays in Detroit probably until the trade deadline.
And Skubal
I don't think they move him at the deadline because that's cashing in their season.
Yeah,
they've been postseason the last 2 years. They're not going to walk from Skubal.
Well, then I think at least when it comes to the Tigers, the decision's going to have to be made. Do we let Skubal walk for nothing? Or do we try to get a couple of prospects back for him, even though what we get back for him in the near future might not be as good as him himself? Are we looking for the next couple of years? And I think it depends on what they can get for him at the deadline. That's a decision they're going to have to make themselves. But what prospects can have the same impact as freaking Tarek Skubal? That's a hard one to ask.
So, and here's another question I brought up to you. If Volpe cannot improve this year, will the Yankees think of moving on?
I think it's pretty much on the. Brian Cashman kind of, in a very subtle way, made it clear that the door is open to them moving on from Anthony Volpe. That he's going to have to win the job back. They're happy that he's working hard and so on and so forth, but he made it clear in a very subtle way that he's going to have to win the job back. It's not going to be handed to him. So that nothing is guaranteed at this point.
Well, I just hope the Yankees, when they see a player struggling or injured, they take care of the problem immediately. They don't let the player play it out.
Yeah.
You also have to remember the player has to be honest with the coaching and the medical staff.
Yep.
I understand, but even if they're not honest and they have a tremendous downfall in their performance, you have to be suspicious. And
the problem is that his test came up mostly clean, right? And then when they operated on him, they said that once they operated on him, the damage was a lot worse than the MRIs revealed. And that
then maybe sometimes they need a second opinion.
Who knows? And my guess is they probably get second opinions, but MRIs are MRIs.
I know.
So, and at that point,
now the Stanton situation, when they knew he was hurt come the end of the World Series and didn't do beans until spring training, that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
He had both elbows hurt, I believe.
Tennis elbow. Yeah, tennis elbow. So
spring training comes around, he can't even pick up a bat.
Yep.
No, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is another reason why the Yankees are trying to secure as much depth as possible. They're trying to fortify the bench as much as possible, so that if our starters do get hurt, we have credible replacements for them. We haven't really had it in years.
Beagle Dad, the Yankees drafted 7 shortstops last year. Brought in another guy capable of being a shortstop, possibly trading for another one who is a dual-headed shortstop. I don't think it's treating Volpe with regard to kid gloves or anything. if he's not hacking it, he's just not going to be the shortstop.
But what that tells me, the draft, I think they know that Volpe will not be the long-term shortstop.
Well, exactly. And I think
They,
that was
they wouldn't have
shot
drafted 7 shortstops if they had a long-term shortstop for 10 years.
and I think put a shot across the bow of Roderick Arias too.
Roderick Arias is going to be another failed prospect. That's why they made the change, and that's why they missed out on a lot of players in this off season. For the last 2 weeks, I mentioned this to Jason. I talked with Jason. The top guy they missed out that went to the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, run the
Like
acid.
we needed another shortstop.
Well, exactly.
And we didn't need another shortstop. We needed pitching and corner infield.
And
No,
catcher.
we don't need pitching. We need a catcher. We need a bunch of catchers.
And we signed 4 of them.
Well,
exactly.
The problem is all these guys they sign internationally are like 6 years away at least.
Yes.
In the majors. So the catching, I think, needs to come at the draft, and they need to be college players because they're much closer to the high ends of the system in the majors than anybody else is.
But the last time they drafted a college catcher in the first round was Austin Wells.
Well, yeah, and like this kid wanted the oxygen. What is he? 15, 16?
16. You cannot sign before you're 16.
Do you think he's going to be in Citi Field anytime before 2030?
Well, how did we sign a 13-year-old?
Yeah, apparently they have this pre-agreement with a 13-year-old. Like some kid from Venezuela. Apparently, he's the greatest prospect ever that they've ever seen, but he's 13. Like, they can have all the talent in the world, but you got to have the fundamentals. What if he grows? What if he turns into puberty, has a foot growth spurt, and his body mechanics changes? Right?
You cannot judge players when they're 13 years old.
It's impossible. So why give them? And apparently, this is the biggest signing deal ever.
$6 million deal.
Yeah, and there's a $600,000 education scholarship too for this kid. He's 13. Let him go to high school. Man, but it's crazy. But this is why I don't put too much stock in this international signings. What did we hit on? 2 or 3 of them in the last 2 decades? So.
Well, the only guys that we signed that made the major leagues, probably Gary Sanchez, Luis Severino, and
Mariano Rivera.
I'm thinking about the post 2010.
Montero,
Jesus Montero, Sanchez, Severino.
Yeah, three prospects in the last 15 years.
And where did Flores and
Everson Pereira,
Rodriguez, the guy we just traded early.
Well,
those catchers are not they're international signings.
Yep. Esteban Florial is another one too.
Florial, yeah.
Florial, yeah. He was.
But none of those guys have hit him. None of those. Any of those guys still in the majors?
Rochelle is still out there, Aiden.
Severino is still in the majors.
Severino's still in the majors with the A's, but they're trying to trade him
back to the Mets.
Yeah, I mean it's like Gary Sanchez is. I mean, I'm surprised he's been around, but he's got a bat, right?
Just can't catch anything.
Is he still
blocking? Huh?
Is he still catching?
Yeah,
Gary Sanchez.
He was the backup catcher for the Orioles last year.
All right.
Until he got hurt and they brought up Basayo.
And Basayo was the catcher the Yankees were connected to, and they missed out on him because they signed Garrett Cole.
Mm-hmm. But-
I'd rather have Cole.
Yeah.
Yes. But I would have rather signed Basayo and not the other guys we signed.
Yeah. It is what it is at this point. But if I'm the Yankees, and I said this to a couple people, I would, in the next couple years, I would draft a catcher in the first 5 rounds of the draft, like 3 or 4 years in a row. Instead of constantly a shortstop. You know, shortstop.
Well, they have 4 good catchers coming out this year. Although one of them I would nick off the list right off the bat.
Are any of them projected to go in the first 5 rounds?
Yep.
If I'm the Yankees,
Matt Klein out of Louisville. He's the one that I'd nix because he is a left-handed hitting catcher.
okay.
Brooks Bryan out of Troy.
What about the guy from University of Florida? I forgot his name.
I haven't even looked at the draft prospects.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start diving into that a little bit more too. But
Luke Stevenson out of North Carolina. He's a local boy here who is a defensive monster with a cannon for an arm.
is he a righty bat?
Yep.
Okay. If I'm the
And then
Yankees, I'm
There's a
hoping.
guy from Auburn out of the SEC, Ike Irish.
Okay.
He is a contact hitter, right-handed, good defensive skill set.
So,
And of course, we like the SEC boys.
Yes, we do.
look, it would not surprise me if the Yankees draft a catcher with the first pick.
It would be nice.
If they get the right player.
It would be nice if they, did that. Some corner infielders, some catchers, outfielders.
Yeah, but that is
Right-handed
the
hitting
problem with
outfielders.
losing 10 spots in the draft.
Yeah, they moved 10. They dropped 10 spots in the first pick. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But as of right now, the Yankees haven't signed anybody but a QL.
No, and I agree with that. I don't think they should.
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody out there right now that's worth dropping 10 spots in the draft for. The Yankees can sign somebody in free agency as a starting pitcher and not have to give up all that.
No.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. But folks, I mean, does anybody have anything else? Any other thoughts on the talking points that we went over? I mean, talking point 1 was what? Aaron Boone, and it's all in front of us. Talking point 2, running it back. Talking point 3 was the Yankees and Aaron Judge fought harder to bring back Bellinger than they did at Juan Soto, right? Talking point 4 is the Yankees haven't won a World Series in 16 years, and we have a lot of fair weather fans defending the Dodgers more than they defend the Yankees, right? Which is kind of weird, but it's true. And then talking point 5 was George Steinbrenner would be rolling in his grave if he saw what Hal's doing. There he is. Max is in the building. What's up, brother? We just went over talking points, Max. Folks, if you're not subscribed to Max Coverage, too, please make sure you subscribe to Max Coverage, Yankees Ugly Truth, too, please. We want to support our family. Max said there were 5 talking points. We went over, and they were pretty good, pretty good. A lot of them were based, a lot of them are floating around either YouTube or Twitter, social media. And, it's the reason why I brought these up because there's so much that's left out of these talking points. There's so many people who only give a small snippet of the story and omit the majority of it, which leaves people what? Pissed off. And most of the time pissed off at the wrong people. They don't even know the full story. So why do that?
And that is what I think the media needs to do. Tell the whole story, not just part of the story when you're talking about a certain subject.
I agree. Including the running back thing. I didn't hear anybody say it was running it back with some of the team, but you're clearly in different spots. And Brian Cashman pointed that out, but people didn't like to hear that, right? And Grisham got ranked number 7 best center fielder in the league. I'm sure it did, Max. But again, this is a good point too. Grisham would have his qualifying offer, $22 million for 1 year. It's not going to tie the Yankees up.
Yeah.
At all after the year, and they can move on from it after 2026.
And that is what I mentioned to you as well. Why are people have I seen they're acting to Grisham the way they acted to Hicks? Hicks was a 7-year contract. Grisham is 1 year.
Okay, well, the question that I would ask is, all right, you're pissed off about paying Grisham $20 million or $22 million for the season. What other center fielder would you have brought in for cheaper than that?
Yeah, you're damn right, Max. No doubt about it. I knew it was sarcasm, but I'll definitely take number 7 all day, baby.
I'm sure those people wanted Kyle Tucker.
I'm
Tucker's
sure
not a
they
center fielder.
but I do think it pissed off a lot of fans, Max, because a lot of fans are getting their. This is the whole point of tonight, right? Talking points, right? Talking points, telling only your side of the story and leaving out the rest, right? And he came off a career year, Trent Grisham, so he definitely justified that qualifying offer, right? And what, like $60 million a year for Kyle Tucker for 4 years? Grisham's stats were better than Tucker's were.
Well, I thought Grisham would have gotten a multi-year deal on the open market.
So did I. And it could have been like they probably saw the writing on the wall. Maybe he knew too. Maybe he knew.
I called he was going to take the QO. I knew he was going to take it.
Yes, you did. I thought he was going to turn it down and get a longer deal too, but I was surprised that he didn't get one. Well, at least that we know of, right? So that's, again, Brandon Cuddy pitches and catches get. Yeah, I don't know. Grichuk, Kopech, and Martinez. Grichuk, he's a decent righty bat, but he plays outfield. And, is he worth blocking Jones? Randall Grichuk?
No.
So that's the other question. But I'd rather see Grichuk or Jones. I'd rather see Jones.
I think we're going to see Jones next year sometime.
I think so too.
And if we don't see Jones next year, they need to trade him because then they don't believe in him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they need to do with Jones. They need to figure out, can they play him? And if they can't play him, well, you need to trade him.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Exactly. Are you just going to have him and Dominguez down in AAA? Doesn't make it. Jones is 24. He's going to be 25. So I don't know why people keep saying he's almost 30. That's what
25, 30. If you round up, it's good.
Yeah, if you round up for the next 5 years, what planet are we living on? 30.
Well, Aaron Judge was a rookie at 25.
You don't realize that Judge is about to be in a wheelchair and we're going to have to wheel him to the plate so he can hit.
Exactly. He's going to be like the guy Hooper from the Bad News Bears with Billy Bob Thornton. Hooper, roll your little chair out to the outfield there, right? So that's what he's going to be like. Yeah, Bader got $11 million.
Yeah, Bader was another guy I would have bought back.
I don't know. For me, Bader has a long injury history.
Mm-hmm. I think the righty bat, if you guys know, we said it 100 times. If there's a way you can get Nico Horner here, he's the only righty bat I would make a deal for. The only
There's
one.
a way you can get Nico Horner. It's are the Yankees willing to pay that price?
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, the Red Sox are in on him now. I would, for that reason alone, I would be a little bit more aggressive for Nico Horner. Last thing I want him to
The
see
Red
is
Sox
the Red
have
Sox.
so
Yeah,
many more prospects to trade.
Because the Red Sox have no third baseman.
Mm-hmm. They have no third baseman. They lost Bregman. They could also sign Eugenio Suarez. So,
Yeah.
That's a boatload of money they're fixing to sign now.
but are the Red
For a
Sox
guy who-
going to contend this year? Is the key. And
I think
is Nico Horner,
I think they're a 87 to 89 win team. I think they finished third in the division.
well, exactly. So to me, it makes more sense. And I do feel the Yankees can win more than they won last year. More, even if it's one game more, they win 95 games. I don't care what it is. But I think
Well,
Maybe
I
they-
think they will with when Cole comes back.
Maybe I don't believe that the Cubs are actually looking for outfielders because they're pretty stacked. They're looking for starting pitching.
yes, they are. Is it? Yeah, the Red Sox can sign Eugenio Suarez. Sure, they can. Yeah. Yeah, the Cubs are looking, as far as we know, they're looking for pitching. So I don't think you'd have to give them Jones or Dominguez.
If Dominguez gets rolled, my bet is he's either going to the Padres or Kansas City.
I think Dominguez gets flipped for
And who would you trade for him? Who
An
would
arm.
you have in return?
an arm pitcher with controllable years. I mean, we're not going to get a superstar player for him. I mean, I think we need to understand that now.
You seen? I think the Diamondbacks are back talking with Gallen about coming back for a short-term deal.
Our prospect Cam Schlittler is not fair game for Nico Horner.
No.
Cam Schlittler. They wouldn't even give him for Tarek Skubal.
Yeah, Hector posted. We posted a video of Oswaldo Cabrera, and he's walking like he's walking without a problem.
Yeah, Oswaldo Cabrera looks like he's pretty healthy. No.
So,
Why
Walking and doing baseball activities is two different things.
Mm-hmm.
well, you have to walk before you can run.
Yeah. Well, at least he's back to his normal, regular, everyday stuff. So we'll see how he does and adjust it, which is why I think it's good that they have Caballero and Rosario, so they're not having to throw Cabrera to the wolves, right? No. Yeah. I'm not trading Cam for anybody. I'm not trading Ben Rice for anybody.
No, I don't think there's anybody to trade them for.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Some of the other pitchers, Davey.
Gallen had a QO.
Gallen has a QO, yes, which I don't think is going to happen. Because Gallen would come here and be what, a number 4?
I'm
Yeah.
not sure if we're in desperate need of a starting pitcher. I think we need another righty bat.
I think a righty bat is a priority, but I do think they're going to sign a pitcher who can give them some reliable innings, like I said, so they're not having to rely too much on Blackburn and Yarborough. And I think I can't speak for them, but I think they would rather not put Ryan Weathers in the rotation.
Well, and that is one reason why I think they got Winquist.
I think he's a pen guy, isn't he?
Yep.
So
He's slotted as a middle reliever right now.
yeah. Is it 10 degrees in Florida, Max? Holy crap. In Florida?
He's on Jax. He's on the coast.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's regular. That's where it is right now with us every day. Nick Martinez is the guy they're looking at. They're looking at Nick Martinez.
Right now it's 18 degrees, feels like 6.
Yeah, the wind chill is pretty damn cold. Do I think Cam can get 15? Maybe. Maybe. I think as long as they don't expect him to throw 180 to 200 innings, I want to be smart with Cam Schlittler because I want him to be healthy in the postseason.
You need to top him out at 160 at the most.
Yeah,
which is why adding one of these starting pitchers makes it easier to protect guys like Cam Schlittler.
Yeah, they should have an inning limit on Schlittler.
Damn, feels like 20s in Miami. My gosh, wow.
Right now we have light snow. Actual ambient temperature is 20 degrees. Wind chill is 4 degrees.
Jeez Louise.
And that's Virginia on the beach.
Mine is, let's see where I'm at here.
Matter of fact, in this stream,
16.
we got a notification.
16. Feels like 2.
We got a
16.
notification from our church that services are canceled for tomorrow.
Look at that. Just to be in the
And
safe
you know,
side.
for Catholics not to go to church, it's got to be for real.
Be in a safe side, man. Yeah. Yeah. Cam could have a sophomore slump. We have to consider that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could take it to the next level because you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't trade.
He also could do it now in small and win 10 straight games.
Yep. And that's not a guy I'm willing to trade for 1 year of an offensive player. If Nico Horner had 3 years, maybe, but he's got 1. So that to me, it's a hard pass. But that's just me. But like they're not giving him for 1 year of Tarek Skubal either. So Florida's cold. People wrap their plants. Wow. Okay. But yeah, he could have a sophomore slump for all we know. But he's got a big arm. In general, you don't give up big arms like that. Not that easy.
I mean, you look at the Yankee bullpen, they basically completely retooled the bullpen from a high soft contact rate to a lot of strikeouts coming out of there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of big arms there, right? This bullpen is, I think it's going to be more formidable. Dylan Coleman, too, is another guy that throws about 100. So, and now these guys are going to be able to work with Matt Blake. And I think Matt Blake has a tendency to make guys better. So I'm looking forward to seeing. Can't depend. Well, I'm not relying. This is one reason, Davey, I'm saying getting another starting pitcher so that we're not having to expect Cam. Because one of the toughest things to do as a starting pitcher, and I think Ken can attest to that, is increase the workload by a significant amount and expect to still be productive. Look what happened to Nestor Cortez. He went up by like 80 innings and his arm fell apart for like 2 years after that. That's why Cam Schlittler, I would be even. I would cap him out at 150, 160 where he was last year. But it's 150, 160 all major league now. That's an adjustment period in itself, physiologically. Ken, would you attest to that?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Isn't the rule like 20 to 30 innings?
20% more is what you're looking at.
Yeah. That's the cap generally for responsible increase in.
But you look at Crochet over 2 seasons has increased his workload almost 50%.
Mm-hmm.
50% over red line. So, that's looking at trying to get this guy hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Give you one spring training guy y'all are looking at, not Spencer Jones.
One spring training. I need to see who they haven't released who the.
I think
Nick Torres.
I think Michael Cioni.
Out of the guys I can think in my head, I probably would say Windcrest or ERC. But ERC is going to the World Baseball Classic. I would say Windcrest.
I'm going Nick Torres, who was the Mexican League MVP, that righty bat who plays first base. And
yeah, that guy too.
That guy. And Lombard too, but Lombard I looked at last year, a new guy. So Nick Torres is a guy that.
Yeah, I totally forgot about Nick Torres.
I'm looking at now.
Well, I mean, he victimized spring training pitching, but he's at Double A and is hitting in the low 200s.
Mm-hmm.
His glove is major league ready. His bat damn sure is not.
Yeah, he's got some work to do.
Hopefully, he can improve this year.
Yep. But guys, yeah, God, I didn't realize we're going on 2 hours. Holy moly. Okay. Well, let's wrap this up, guys. I want to thank everybody that's in the chat. Please make sure you sub to the Ugly Truth and Max Coverage TV. And if NFE from the Strike Zone is still there, and the Strike Zone as well. I appreciate all you guys and gals. Hit the like button on the way out. Ken, Jonathan, thank you so much as always for joining me tonight. And this is a good time. We went over. I think it's important to just kind of go over kind of the full spectrum of these talking points.
Yeah, we can do this.
In the chat itself, people were angry at stuff they didn't even know about.
Yeah, we should probably do another chat before the opening day.
We'll definitely do a chat for opening day. And once the spring training invites officially come out, maybe we'll do a chat then. That way we can go with a list.
Okay.
And see what it's like. Nick Torres, yeah, that's the guy I'm looking at too. And stay. I mean, I agree. See how Nico Horner is the need, man. He's the guy. He's the bat I want. Right? I mean, Brendan Dunneman's a guy that I wanted for years. But
a lot of these answers that we had today will be answered in spring training.
Yes.
You will see exactly who the Yankees are targeting with the first cuts. When the Yankees make the first cuts in spring training, we'll know exactly who the Yankees are focused on.
100%. 100%. We'll know a lot in a couple weeks, and a lot more in a couple weeks after that. So, and again, like I said, once the World Baseball Classic, if people get hurt, teams are going to need to make moves. They're going to need players, right? If they lose players, they get hurt. And Shohei Ohtani, they said today, he's not pitching at all during the World Baseball Classic. He's just going to DH, trying to protect him. So, and again, like guys get cut in spring training, they get picked up by other teams. That happens every year with the Yankees.
Well, and this is the one thing that concerns me with ERC. I know it's something you want to do, but a guy who had no security in baseball.
Mm-hmm. Just protect the big arms. Be smart with them.
Yeah.
You know what? From a physiological, and I'm speaking as a 20-year musculoskeletal therapist. The one thing you do not want to increase at the same time is volume and intensity. It's got to be one or the other. It can't be both. You try to do both, that's a recipe for injury. Okay? The body needs time to adapt. You increase volume, and then you have to stay there for a while and let the body catch up to the intensity. If you increase intensity, the body's got to stay there for a while before you add volume. It's called periodization. It's a physiological term, which means the body needs time to adapt to increases in training load. And Ken, as a pitcher, knows this better than most, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You told me.
And working out with special warfare people, too.
Yeah. Ken can give you an insight and experience from a lot of different angles.
Well, Ken, you told me you were ready to sign with a major league club before an injury. Is that what you said once?
Yes. Actually, I chose college as opposed to signing.
And then you got hurt in college.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Calf injury. On another topic for Giannis, I heard calf injury leads to ACL injury. That's a different musculoskeletal component. Calf generally leads to hamstring. Okay, tight IT bands can lead to knee problems. But ACL injuries tend to be lateral in nature. Hyperextension of the knee tends to be forward, right? Generally, you can bend one way, tear your ACL. And that generally has more to do with because that's arterial-cruciate ligament. That's less muscular and more musculoskeletal, right? So calves, I wouldn't say lead to ACLs as much as IT bands and hip instability do, if that makes sense. So, do I think the Knicks would trade? I think they have a good chance, but I don't know if I don't know what I would give for him.
I
And
think there's a chance, but I don't know if I
If they
don't think they have the draft capital.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up a lot of draft capital for Mikal
Bridges.
Bridges. So, and I don't know if they trade Cat for Giannis, whether it's going to lead them to the promised land. I think you probably need both of them.
No, if they get Giannis, they have to trade Towns.
Yeah, that's the other part too. Like, and again, how much of an upgrade is it at that point? Because of how much you're going to have to give up for Giannis, because it's going to have to be more than Towns. So, the Warriors can get him. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But on that note, go have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you found this enjoyable and helpful. Hit the like button if you have. Peace and love to all you guys and gals. If anything else comes out, you're going to get it from us. See you on the next time. Love is sucking.